Hello, a new Steve's Factory Manager version here. This time I've been revisiting the block gate. So the block gate is a block that can place blocks and break blocks. And this is not really an upgrade to it. It's still the same block. It's rather that I've added some features, tweaked some features, and basically just fixed it up a bit. Some or most of these features actually were intended to be in the block from the beginning, but I couldn't really get into work. But now I've spent some time fixing those things, and it should now work much better. So there are two main features. So let's get going to take a look at those. You can of course use the machine inventory manager like always, but to well be able to show you things quicker without having to set up commands, I'm just going to use a hopper. This has always been possible. And this has also always been possible to do something like that. So I'm just dropping it there, and it's placing the repeaters, the repeater there as if I would have placed it, like that. Okay. What I can do now, however, if I don't break the ground, is to right-click there. So I'm actually moving the center there. Look at that. I can also shift right-click, which is going to move it to the opposite side. The shift right-click requires an empty hand, whereas the other one is totally fine with an item as well. The reason why you have to shift right click with an empty hand is because otherwise you will do that. Right, okay, so what does this mean? What happens if I put the marker there? Well, if I do, it's going to treat it as, well, how would this block be placed if I faced this direction? Well, it would have been placed like this. Well, it would be placed like that. But we still wanted to place it on this side, which means that if I drop one there, it's going to place it here, but facing that direction. If I use this side here, it's going to do that. This is basically the same thing as what we've had before, but previously you wouldn't have been able to define different sides. So now we have the side here as where we have to place it, and this side in which direction we should have it. So if you have it like that, we obviously place it like if we would have been facing this direction, but we also do face that direction, which means that we're going to place it there. If you use the top side, it's going to be like just doing something like this, which is of course going to just choose the default direction like that. So nothing too special there. Yeah, so that's the first big feature in this update. So what you can now do is simply define directions as well that are different from the actual side you place it on. The short thing I can comment about, which is just a small tweak. If you try to place something when there's already an item there, it's going to spit it out like that. And previously it spit it out a bit weird, I guess. Now that has been done smoother, so it's basically spitting out exactly like the item valve would have done, but a bit shorter. So an item valve can shoot it 2 blocks, I think, without a problem. Here it just goes a bit. Right. Okay, so let's get going with the next big feature, which is, well, it has to do with these items. So previously we have only been able to use blocks with the block gate, but now we can also use items. So if I do something like this and put some seeds in here, you would expect that it would plant those. However, it won't. Which is a bit weird because I just said it would work with items, but let's think about what we're trying to make it do. Okay, so now I'm the block gate. Well, in this simulation I'm going to act like the block gate, so I'm standing here, we have that there, and I'm going to activate in front of me. Well, this isn't really going to do much, is it? Because I'm clicking on the block, not on the soil here. So how do we tell it to click on the soil? Well, we have to tell it to face downwards, which is basically what we would do if we activated bottom side. So what we'll have to do is select the bottom side. I'm going to do that by shift right clicking the top. And now we're facing bottom, but we still have here, well, that side active, and boom. Oh, bad timing there, not hydrating it enough. There we go. So now it's being placed there because now we're facing down and therefore it's being activated like that. Right. But like I said, all items and blocks act differently, and that's depending on how it's being implemented. When we go with this bucket here, it's totally fine to just have it there. Okay, I was wrong. There you go. That should do it. So the reason why it didn't work previously with the front one is because then it's activating into thin air here. But if I'm doing it backwards, we're activating it towards the block here, and therefore we get water. And then if I grab the bucket here, I can put it like so, and it's going to pick it up. So the reason why it's splitting out the item is because, well, we give it an item and then we want that to be placed. It's trying to place it, but that placement is going to pick up the water or drop the water, and then it's going to keep the item. But if it can't place an item, which is basically what happened, it tried to place the bucket, but it still has a bucket. The bucket changed, but it still has the bucket. It has to spit it out. So it spits it out, but now it has changed like that, which, well, it's going to drop it, but you can pick it up again with like item values or such. Right, another thing we can do, I'm just right-clicking there, so now it's facing downwards again. So what we can do now is do something like that. So that's going to do the same thing. It's going to drop out the hole there. We know it's always going to be dropped out in the same spot, so that's one good thing at least. And if I pick it up, we can see that it has been a bit damaged because it was used. So I can do that again, like so. So there you go. Another thing we can take a look at, if I just replace it there, is this thing. Okay, so I have a lever here. And what I'm going to do is tell it to activate on this side, which means that we're going to activate things like if we would be having facing like this. That means that if I put a block of whatever, or well, an item here, it's going to actually flip that lever. Because what happens if we have a block of grass, it doesn't matter if it's grass or not, but if I'm standing here and right-clicking that, I'm not going to place the block, and that's purely because I have a block in my hand. Which means that if I try to do something, it's just going to click the lever, and since we didn't successfully place the block, we have to spit it out. Of course, if I select this side instead, it's going to, well, look in this direction, and there's nothing here, so we can, without a problem, just place the block like that. This, of course, allows us to flip the lever in quite an amusing way, like that. So now it's just being flipped back and forth, but we are failing to actually place the grass block due to the fact that we're trying to place it by activating the lever, like that. Right, okay, so it's not really too useful, but we can replace it with the node block. So now it's going to change the pitch of the node block there by dropping grass, like so. So now you can actually control that thing there, and you can activate tools and buckets, and of course also define different signs. We saw that was required when we work with the hoe to tell it to do it on the ground, and then if we want to place torches, you can say, alright, just place it on this side here, even though we're placing it in this direction, and so on. So these two features together can be quite useful, I would say, and then some few bug fixes and tiny tweaks as well has been added. So that's pretty much it. Good luck.